Welcome to sunshinedixieland.com. Writers, producers, and publishers of free content. No charge, no advertising. Content in three main fields of endeavor: music, poetry, drama, and prose. I want to do a reading for you today, which is published on sunshinedixieland.com. Rape of the Southern Witch by Stephen the Plebeian. As Old Roman means common man, common people, not slaves, but citizens, the mob. What are they good for? Paying taxes and producing, by procreation, more taxpayers. Some people might take offense at this reading, but I hope you don't, because it's a part of our history, ongoing. Rape of the Southern Witch by Stephen the Plebeian. There was, of course, a wicked witch of the East, a wicked witch of the West, and the, quote, good witch of the North. But I do not believe that anything at all has been written about the Southern Witch. This must be an oversight among the pundits of letters. Cut. Try again. This must be an oversight among the pundits of letters, not to please them or the critics, but rather to pacify my own eccentric philosophical wondering. I have racked my poor plebeian brain for many years, searching for a favorable means to rectify this loss to American literature, this silence concerning the Southern Witch. Today I discovered what I consider to be that remedy. Today I was fleeing the capital of South Carolina, Columbia, in a 20-ton rig, pushing the powerful diesel engine of my truck to its limits. Fleeing because I was very much in danger of arriving late with the freight. In my line of work, driving for UPS, United Postal Service of America, arriving late is considered next to criminal and punishable by next to corporal means. We do guarantee on-time delivery of all packages, and the company will accept no excuses for tardiness from any driver. Even acts of God such as earthquake, fire, flood, or hurricane must be substantiated, and the driver must call in immediately with credible evidence, including the driver must call in immediately with credible evidence, including witnesses, or he may not be held blameless. I was headed east on Interstate 26, out of the hills toward the low country, and Interstate 95. Out of the hills toward the low country and Interstate 95, which would take me south to my destination, Jacksonville, Florida. My jukebox, AM/FM, was tuned to South Carolina educational radio. They were broadcasting live from the South Carolina State House. The good senators were debating and proposing a proposed bill to remove from the Capitol dome that most loved and hated symbol of the long dead, but most certainly not forgotten, Confederacy, the stars and bars. The date of that debate was April 12th, 2000. On April 12, 1861, 139 years earlier, Southern forces fired on Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor. Actually, they demanded surrender on the 12th and began shelling early in the morning of the 13th. Most history books credit that event as the beginning of the war between the states, Civil War. On April 12, 1865, that conflict ended. The stars and bars came down in South Carolina and all across the South, temporarily down in the years of Reconstruction and Northern retribution, mostly down, except in some backwaters where it rose up persistently, obstinately, waving on a warm and rising southern wind. The Stars and Stripes were raised again, that reverenced banner under which slavery was a fact of law for 89 years. The Union was preserved, and the cost in human life was 600,000 American souls. The bloodiest war in our history to that date. Slavery was abolished, but not until the South was decimated, not until her major cities were shelled into submission, not until Sherman had marched across Georgia with his battle-seasoned regulars, slaughtering the old men and young boys, black and white, of the Home Guard. Not until he, Sherman, had spared the city of Savannah, some say for a substantial sum of money, before turning north to exact a, quote, righteous vengeance on the people of South Carolina. Burning homes, schools, and churches, robbing, butchering, destroying the slightest semblance of resistance, raping women and children, black and white, through the low country and the Midland Hills to the capital. Not until Lee surrendered his half-starved, ill-clothed, shoeless, bootless, lice-plagued, dysentery-infected army of Virginia at Appomattox, not until all the above was accomplished, was slavery then abolished in all the states and territories of the United States of America. It was not until the centennial celebration of that infamous conflict in 1965, in memorial to the thousands who suffered and died, that the Stars and Bars were raised again over the Capitol dome of South Carolina. No one took much notice at the time. The nation was caught up in newer conflicts and endeavors. The Civil Rights Movement, the beginnings of the Vietnam War and protests, the race to put a man on the moon, the yearly assassinations of presidents, preachers, and political candidates, and the assassinations of the assassins. No one seemed to notice that all across the South, incorporated into state flags, flying over state Confederate memorials, the stars and bars were waving again on a warm and rising southern wind. As I listened to the debate concerning the removal of the Confederate flag, battle flag, I was very much impressed by the oratorical skills, the impassioned rhetoric, and the sincere conviction of those senators who argued on either side of the issue. From their detailed speeches, I learned a great deal about the history and the heritage, the honor and the character of the good people of South Carolina. And as I listened to them speak with elegance about the blood, the sweat, and the tears, the sacrifices made by both sides during the war and the Reconstruction years, through the Depression era and the years of the Civil Rights Movement until the present. As I listened, I began to realize that these good people would come to a civil and just conclusion to this matter, a conclusion that would benefit all the good people of South Carolina, regardless of outside pressures or influences. Just north of the Savannah River, the radio signal began to fade. I turned off the static and drove along listening to the low rumble of the truck's diesel engine. I rolled down my window enjoying the bright April sunshine and that warm and rising southern wind. I could feel it in every fiber of my being, coursing through my veins, beating in my heart, just as my ancestors surely felt it many years ago when they crossed the wide Atlantic to settle in the low country of Hampton County, South Carolina. I drove along thinking about all I had heard that day. The ghosts of the low country began to speak to my soul. Slowly, my mind began to compose a poem about the tenacious arrogance, that rebellious, undefeated spirit of the South. A poem about that glorious, honorable, gracious, and beautiful spirit that simply will not die. Down east of Eden and south of Olaz, in a land so real, some say that it really never was. 3 hags sat sewing the fates to a stitch and singing the rape of the fair southern witch. Singing the rape of the fair southern witch. There was Ida the ignorant and Dinah disease, Helga of hunger, all sisters of sleaze, and bent o'er the frame to quilt hate and wrong, hideous they hissed and cackled this song. A stitch to the east, a stitch to the west. Violate her flesh and ravish her breast. O come, hell's soldiers, O come, bloody gore, vitiate the witch and take her to whore. Vitiate the witch and take her to whore. Then Ida the ignorant, gifted with sight, saw on the plain one bold southern knight, astride a steed emaciated and poor, the last of his creed, champion of yore. His lance tradition, honor his sword of wars, his banner tattered, rag of the stars and bars. Then Helga and Dinah refrained, Aman, Aman, let us starve this fool till his bowels run water. Let us slay his sons and sack his daughter. Let us plague his flesh with pestilence sore till he hates the witch and curses the whore. Till he hates the witch and curses the whore. Then ignorant Ida refrained, it is done. It is done. They brought out the witch, cast her down at his feet, belladonna of the South. Once lovely, gracious, pure and sweet. He lifted her up, kissed the dirt and the tears from her eyes. His heart beat with love, with passion for her the hags despise. He is Beauregard. He will not bend. He will not bow. He lifts up his head. To all men, he makes this vow. Down east, cut. Dear God, be my witness, as I swear, by the blood of my fathers that has soaked this lovely ground, that I shall not lift my voice or my hand on this fair day, on any day, to bring that most precious banner down. Down east of Eden and south of Old Isles, in a land so real some say it really ne'er was. 3 hags sit sewing the fates to a stitch and singing the rape of the fair southern witch. Singing the rape of the fair southern witch. Written by Stephen Wayne Hampton Sr. April the 12th, 2000. All copyrights reserved. sunshinedixieland.com. 2003 through 2019. Y'all have a good day. Hope y'all enjoyed this reading. Thanks for listening.
Where is the boy called River? Is he still out on patrol? Is he still down in the jungle with the bloody horse on remember while his night was over. Death is his game. Remember well, my brother, he never did return. Is he lying?